lots of questions from parents of young players asking me what they should practice, how they should practice, why they should practice, why they're not practicing. It comes up many, many times. And this idea that I have is just to share with you some thoughts and insights as to what should go on. The first thing about practice is to actually have your room set up properly. Music on a music stand at a correct height is always a great advantage. A decent chair. Now you'll notice I'm not actually touching the back of my chair. I don't believe in that. I believe you should sit forward a little bit so your posture is straight, or stand up. That allows your airflow the greatest opportunity to fill your lungs and the greatest control opportunity of your playing. With young kids, I tend not to use the word practice. I use the word perform. And I encourage them to perform it every time. To imagine they're playing for 1,000 people that are giving them $1 million each. Capitalism works really well in practices. And that way they perform, they play, they're more likely to actually play the piece of music seriously. I also encourage them to perform for you. And the very first time it happens, you might discover that hot cross bun sounds nothing like you expected it to. But the more times they do it, you'll start to recognise it. And if you reward that, kids work much better with positive behavioural learning abilities. We've proven that time and time and time again. So if they play it and you go, wow, that's fantastic, that encourages them again. But when we get to serious practice, well, the best thing is, what do I do? Long note practice is important. You heard what I just started with. That's my common warm-up in the morning. It gets my ear in tune, it gets my instrument ready, it's relaxing, it's not a hard exercise. I really don't think you should go for extremes of register right early on in the day, but just warm up. The idea of warming up is to get air through the instrument, get the instrument to a temperature, get your mind centered on what you're doing. Then we come to the meat and potatoes of our rehearsal and our practice time. Now, at practice time, we shouldn't be hearing just the band pieces, because you might be playing 3 notes and having 25 bars rest. What we need to hear is the exercises around that, and a method book is a great thing to have. Most schools use them. Most schools use a variety of essential elements, a standard of excellence, accent on achievement, band method, band class, all those ones, any of those, or you can go for a tuner day, Arbans, or any other million things that you can do. But a method book that gradually draws you through is really, really important. That way, you're gradually improving and you play the exercise and you don't move on until you've played it. A period of time, now you can set that depending on the schedule. One thing I find with kids these days is they tend to be overcommitted to so many things that time is an issue. But if you concentrate for 10 to 15 minutes a day, you will get more out of your practice than if you put a half hour aside and spend 25 minutes of that looking for the valve oil. The idea is to play things to extend your knowledge, but to also play the things that you've been taught. Review, rewind, and consolidate them. Now, the whole purpose of practice, there are 2 reasons. One is to build that familiarity, to keep doing things over and over again. Repetition helps us build our muscle memory, helps us design how we're going to play, helps us create that sound. If you don't pick that instrument out of the case, you will not improve. It's very simple. It needs to come out, you need to play it. And there's no difference in the speed from 200 years ago to what it is today. You still go through the same things. Practice out of your books, practice a solo, practice things before you do your band pieces, then spend some time on your band pieces, but don't just play them through. Pick the pieces and the areas you can't play. We have a tendency to rip through things and go, yep, I've done all that piece, finished. What we need to do is start at a point, and when things go wrong, that's where you stop, that's where you work. And I'll do some other videos later on with techniques to actually learn how to play things like that. Of course, I like to end up with something fun. A little fun piece or something you like playing, your favourite piece, because that way when you finish you feel like you've had a great time. And the work's been done. The more often you can do it, the better. One of the things that I was always taught as an established musician, as someone working on contest pieces and working on harder pieces, was don't just practice until you get it right. Keep practicing it until you can't get it wrong. And that's where I'm at today. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got further questions, drop us a line, drop us some feedback, make a comment. Always happy to discuss specific issues with people and to foster music in our region. It's so important that we keep kids playing and we build them up the right way so that they're practicing, they're performing, and they're belonging to the biggest sport in the world, the sport of music. Enjoy.